Hey, it's Dr. Toby here. If you're somebody who's a physical therapist and you want to figure out how to become a six-figure physical therapist without working in travel or home health, in this video, I want to show you how to do just that. So one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is the fact that as you progress in your physical therapy career, you see that there's, number one, not a lot of room for growth. Number two, if you do grow and you become like a clinical director or move up, you're doing less of the thing that you actually love, which is taking care of patients and being able to interact and help them see improvements. And you're doing more of the stuff that you hate, the documentation, administrative stuff. And so a lot of people feel like, well, the only opportunities for me to make more money is either to start my own business or to do travel or to do home health. But I want to tell you that you can become a six-figure physical therapist without doing either of those things. And I want to show you how today. So one of the things you have to realize is, number one, you have to figure out what you don't like about your current situation. What is it about your work environment and your work experience that you really don't like? The second thing that you have to figure out is what exactly is it about home health and travel that you also are not really fond of, right? Most people don't want to do travel because they live a steady life. They have a family. They don't want to be away from their family for several months. And then also travel has, contracts that are limited. So you have, 13-week contracts, 8-week contracts, and, it doesn't last too long, right? So you're always kind of in the feast or famine looking for the next opportunity and possibly traveling to a place that you really don't like or that you're not going to really be able to take care and be with your family. For people who are in the outpatient space and considering doing home health, their challenge is they're really just not passionate about working with patients who are at a lower level of care, and they just aren't interested in maybe traveling as much or just doing that kind of setting where they're working with patients who maybe are just at home, not as motivated and things like that. And then also the crazy documentation systems that people have to go through with some of the like Oasis and all of these other type of specific requirements that you have to go through in terms of documentation and all these different things. It just becomes such a headache, and the standards of care are always changing. And so a lot of people who are in the outpatient world, they're like, well, I really don't want to work and see these kind of patients. I want to see more active individuals. I want to work with people who are really motivated and things of that nature. And so what is the challenge there for those individuals? They're just like, this is not the setting I want to work in because I'm not working with the type of patients that I enjoy working with the most. And so I'm still not fulfilled in my career. And so what can be the solution for a lot of people is what we have actually pioneered where we are in our local region, which is the mobile physical therapy niche. And it's a great opportunity for people who want to treat patients who are outpatient level, individuals who are active, athletes, athletic, and in all types of settings, right? Or in all types of populations or demographics. Treating them from a mobile standpoint is really great because we've pioneered this niche where we're able to work with people of all calibers, of all walks of life, of all backgrounds, and people who are willing to get the care that they really desire by working with a specialist who's willing to come to them. Back in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I started the mobile physical therapy niche after being laid off of my job, and I started pioneering this here on the East Coast. I'm in Maryland, and one of the things that people found was that they really loved the one-on-one attention and care that they were able to get. We were able to have longer sessions with our patients, and I found that I was able to work less, make more, and be able to have a greater work-life balance, greater flexibility. And this was great because I didn't have to travel, go far from my family. I didn't have to look for contracts consistently to be able to satisfy, the needs that I had monetarily in terms of, being able to keep up with expenses and looking for new travel contracts every so often, right? I was able to stay with my family as somebody who was, settled down and, living that kind of life with kids and things of that nature. But then I also didn't have to be limited by the structural requirements. I mean, I worked in home health for a while and it was just a headache, right? The documentation requirements that they have and all these different little nuances because they're still having to what I'll say is pander to the insurance companies to make sure that the insurance companies are happy rather than making their patients the ones who they're ensuring that they're happy. So that was my experience that led to us starting the mobile physical therapy niche. And this has been really beneficial for creating a six-figure life. Right? Let's just be honest. There's more to life than just six figures. It's not really about the money. It's about what the money does for you, the leverage that it gives you, being able to take care of expenses, deal with a multiplying or growing family situation, right? Where you're having to get new cars, all these other different kind of things that happen as life progresses, being able to pay back your loans, right? We know that six figures is not the greatest amount of money, right? But guess what? It's a better position than a lot of physical therapists are in currently, who are barely or just under making six figures. And then at the same time, being able to have the lifestyle that you want with not having to travel and still being able to see the patients that you actually want to see. It's a great opportunity. So I encourage you, the physical therapy, mobile physical therapy niche is a really great one to dive into. And we're actively in the process of building our team, growing our therapists, and helping physical therapists to escape the rat race, the hamster wheel of living by the traditional outpatient physical therapy model, where you're struggling to be able to really provide the care that you know you can provide to patients. One of the things that I hated the most about working in traditional physical therapy settings was that I knew I could help patients get better, but the environment just didn't allow that, right? If I could have a few more minutes to be able to teach a patient how to actually do things on their own and to help build them up to really improve without having to be distracted by other patients, right? And things like that, I could help people get better, not just from being pain-free, but being able to do the things that they feel like they can no longer do anymore. So I realized that spending more time with my patients was one of the things that I love. And let's be honest, a lot of companies today try to do this like 45-minute sessions and things like that. But ultimately, the more insurance cracks down and tightens up the profit margins, reduces how much you're reimbursed and all these different things, you find yourself squeezing that 45 minutes shorter and shorter, sometimes doing double bookings and all these different things. So the truth of the matter is, if you want to really be able to become a six-figure physical therapist, you have to break out of the model, because at the end of the day, the current model of physical therapy is only setting you up to be able to stay at the status quo. In fact, every single year, we see that Medicare is cutting costs and, reimbursing less, all these different things. And so the challenge is physical therapists are not even in control of how much they make when they're in these traditional models, working in outpatient, things like that. So I encourage you, break out of the model. You don't got to do travel. You don't have to do home health. You can do mobile physical therapy, which allows you to see people who are of all levels of physicality, and even the kind of levels of physicality that you want to be able to help them rehab, whether it's active older adults who, are active tennis players or golfers, or, people who are into CrossFit. You have the opportunity through mobile physical therapy to be able to see patients, the kind of patients that you want to see, without having to travel far, living a life where you're settled down and treating patients who are in your local area, in your region, and doing it on your own terms and in what looks best for the actual patient themselves, not with what the insurance company thinks looks best and is going to be best for them. So if you found this video helpful, like it, share it with the physical therapist, and hopefully you find those opportunities like ourselves where you can, no matter where you are, be able to engage in the mobile physical therapy niche.